has narcissistic disorder. Number one, do you think that's a mental illness, narcissism? And if so, is he fit to be president?
Buckle up, everyone, because things got real on The View recently. Dr. Phil, the master of hard truths and no-nonsense conversations, walked into the lion's den and completely turned the tables. And Joy Behar? Let's just say she wasn't ready for what he had to say. From diagnosing Trump's alleged narcissism to calling out Joy right at the table, this episode was nothing short of jaw-dropping. The moment Dr. Phil exposed Joy live on air, her reaction was priceless. And social media has been buzzing ever since. But before we dive into the chaos, hit that like button and subscribe. Trust me, you won't want to miss more moments like this. Raw, unfiltered, and absolutely packed with drama. Did you just subscribe? Fantastic. Let's get into it. It all started with Joy Behar doing what Joy does best, going after Donald Trump.
No, she's got to ask you this question.
Yeah, I
She's
got to
been
ask you this
burning.
question because though they can't diagnose anybody, from afar, somebody they haven't examined, doctors, therapists, a lot of respected psychologists out there, really big-time, big names, are saying that Donald Trump is showing signs of narcissism, which, by the way, one of the symptoms is preoccupied with the fantasies of unlimited power, success, and brilliance. And they're questioning that he has narcissistic disorder. Number one, do you think that's a mental illness, narcissism? And if so, is he fit to be president?
She brought up claims from respected psychologists, suggesting that Trump exhibits narcissistic traits, and even came prepared with a checklist straight from the DSM-5, the Diagnostic Manual for Mental Health. Here's her checklist. A grandiose sense of self-importance, preoccupied with fantasies of success and brilliance, a sense of entitlement, lacking empathy. Sound familiar? Joy thought so. With a confident tone, she attempted to connect the dots, all while making it clear that she thought she had Trump figured out. But then, Dr. Phil stepped in, and that's when everything changed. Dr. Phil wasn't about to let Joy's narrative go unchecked. With his calm demeanor and quick wit, he pointed out something that immediately sent shockwaves across the table. If you take out everybody with those traits, you'll lose a lot of people, including some at this table. Cue Joy's face. A mix of shock, frustration, and, dare we say, realization. The moment was pure television gold. Dr. Phil didn't just stop there. Oh no. He went on to break down what narcissism truly means, pulling directly from the DSM-5 to provide some much-needed clarity.
But, people talk about narcissism, but they don't really know what it means. So I brought a list from the DSM-5 about what narcissism really is, because if I asked people to stand up and define it, they wouldn't know.
All right.
And let's just take a vote. One, has a grandiose sense of self-importance.
Check.
Check. Okay.
Next.
Two, is preoccupied with fantasies of success, power, or brilliance, which you said. Check. Okay. Three, believes that he or she is special or unique.
Check.
Can only be understood by special people. Four, requires excessive admiration.
Oh, check.
Has a sense of entitlement, which means is very thin-skinned. If you're
Oh,
entitled,
check.
is interpersonally exploitive.
Oh, yeah.
Lacks empathy, has the inability to stand in other people's shoes and understand.
You mean like when he makes fun of people who are handicapped or
I'm just
disabled?
reading it. You interpret it however you want. Is often envious of others or believes that others are envious of him or her. Shows arrogant and haughty behavior.
How many people does that? That's a lot of people.
Well, that is a lot of people, and if you take out everybody that has any of those characteristics, then you're going to take out a lot of people, including some at this table. But
yourself included.
Absolutely.
Really? Which one are you?
Well, I'll tell you what. Leaders.
Which one are you?
Let's see. I would have to check a few of these.
Do you have to have all of them, though, to be a narcissist?
First off, you have to have a number of the...
Narcissism isn't as rare as people think, he explained. In fact, many leaders exhibit these traits, especially in high-pressure roles. But here's the kicker. Just because someone exhibits certain traits doesn't mean they're a full-blown narcissist. Context, behavior, and impact matter. And while Dr. Phil kept his explanation factual and grounded, Joy's discomfort grew more obvious. It was as if she realized the very traits she was trying to pin on Trump might hit a little too close to home. This wasn't just a discussion about Trump. It was an eye-opening moment for everyone watching. Dr. Phil turned what could have been a simple debate into a masterclass on human behavior. And let's face it, that's not something you see on The View every day. But Dr. Phil wasn't done. He took things a step further, flipping the narrative completely. Instead of continuing to entertain Joy's checklist, he brought up stories that showcased a different side of Trump, a side rarely discussed in the media. Remember the story of Trump paying off a couple's mortgage after their car broke down? Or the time he donated $110,000 to a family battling cancer? Dr. Phil used these examples to challenge the narrative Joy was trying to push, asking, "Do these actions align with the traits you're describing?" Joy, clearly caught off guard, tried to steer the conversation back to her original point. But it was too late. The audience wasn't buying it, and neither was Dr. Phil. This moment wasn't just about Trump. It was about exposing the media's selective storytelling. And for Joy, it was a reality check she clearly wasn't expecting. By now, Joy was visibly frustrated. Her attempts to regain control of the conversation only highlighted how much ground she'd lost. Her tone grew defensive, and her expressions said it all. She knew she'd been outmaneuvered, and of course, the internet took notice. Clips of the exchange quickly went viral, with viewers praising Dr. Phil for his composure and sharp insights. One Twitter user summed it up perfectly. Dr. Phil just walked into The View and exposed their hypocrisy on live TV. Iconic. Meanwhile, others couldn't help but point out the irony. Joy accusing Trump of narcissism while ignoring her own bias? Classic. The memes were relentless and absolutely hilarious.
As we disrupt you to your functioning. And so the question is this malignant to the point that it puts people's lives in jeopardy, puts our futures in jeopardy?
Yeah.
That's what you have to decide. I doubt that there's ever been anyone that has sat in the chair of the presidency that didn't have some type of imbalance mentally or emotionally at some point in their lives.
Well, Nixon did,
we
too.
all have our, we all have our hearts broken. We all have things that we go through.
You wouldn't look at President Obama and say he has narcissistic disorder. So you can't just say they all have it.
I didn't
Some
say they
people
all
have
it.
all the things you said.
Right.
We just checked every one of them.
I said most leaders, most leaders are under a lot of stress and pressure.
Yeah.
So a lot of them will show anxiety, depression at different times. A lot of leaders will have some affliction at different times because of the pressure and demand.
As the segment wrapped up, Dr. Phil delivered one final thought that left the panel speechless. Life isn't black and white. No one is perfect, and labeling people doesn't solve anything. It just divides us further. The statement was a mic drop moment, cutting through the noise and bringing some much-needed perspective to the table. Joy, along with the rest of the panel, scrambled to respond, but the damage was done. Dr. Phil had taken control of the narrative and left the audience questioning everything they'd just heard. So, what do you think? Did Dr. Phil hit the nail on the head, or was Joy right to push back? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And hey, if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more epic moments, viral debates, and unfiltered truth. Your support means the world to us and helps us keep delivering the content you love. Thanks for watching, and remember, stay curious, stay informed, and never be afraid to challenge the narrative. We'll see you in the next video.